West African defense chiefs have drawn up a plan for potential military intervention if Niger's coup is not overturned by the weekend. The Economic Community of West African States, or ECOWAS, has taken a hard stance on last week's toppling of President Mohamed Bazoum. It's given Niger's coup leaders until Sunday to step down. It's the seventh coup in West and Central Africa since 2020. Western donors have cut support in protest, even though Niger relies on aid for 40% of its budget. Regional countries have imposed economic sanctions that residents say are starting to bite. Late on Thursday, the country's new military junta revoked military cooperation pacts with former colonial power France. France said it was taking note of the junta's decision, while adding that those deals had to be signed with Niger's, quote, legitimate authorities. France has between 1,000 to 1,500 troops in Niger, helping battle groups linked to Al-Qaeda and Islamic State. The United States, Germany, and Italy also have troops stationed in Niger. The country has strategic significance for the US, China, Europe, and Russia, given its precious resources and its pivotal role in the war with Islamist rebels in the Sahel region. The junta has cited persistent insecurity as its main justification for seizing power, but data on attacks show that security had actually been improving. Detained at the presidential residence in Niger's capital, Bazoum said in his first remarks since the coup that he was a hostage and in need of U.S. and international help. If the coup succeeds, it will have devastating consequences for our country, our region, and the entire world, he wrote in a Washington Post opinion piece backing ECOWAS economic and travel sanctions.
Email exchanges from inside the BBC, they talk about the risk of violating Indian laws. It's easier to rake up the freedom of speech debate, but does it give anyone a free pass to knowingly violate the law? America supports India because it needs India's support in return. And India is working with the US because it suits India's interests. This is how geopolitics works. Last night, he diffused a crisis with his defense minister. But today, Netanyahu was confronted with a new problem. His cabinet seems to have rebelled against him. The UK is looking at the Indian subcontinent to fill its coffers. That India seems to be negotiating from a position of power, like a partner and not a former colony. The US and Russia are dangerously close to an armed conflict. This year, 2023, New Delhi will be the capital of global diplomacy. For a country as diverse as ours, with 88% of the population illiterate, it was a very big deal to write a constitution, and that too, the world's largest. Meanwhile, if we may, here's a Republic Day gift from India for the BBC. A list of suggestions for the BBC for their upcoming documentaries. Number 1, the Kohinoor and the colonial loot. Number 2, an outdated monarchy and unhealthy obsession with the royals. Number 3, racism in 2023. We're waiting.